Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about why I've drifted in the direction of high bar squats, doing pause squats, things like that. And this is some of my early footage of just now getting back into it, doing it all belt lifts, doing pauses, still working on range of motion. Like you'll notice my rep work in here could stand to be, a little deeper, but also doing some long pauses and stuff. And I think in this one I have a 450 paused belt lift on one of these. But as I'm getting back into doing this, I want to explain a little bit of my logic. A lot of it has to do with the fact that as I've continued to do everything like a power lifter, I've lost mobility, I've lost range of motion. And what's something that lots of us have said for years and years and years. We know that hypertrophy equals more strength potential. And when it comes down to it, things like the quads and your legs in general, if you do deep high bar squats, they are going to be bigger. You're going to have bigger legs. You're going to have bigger quads, okay? Because we're getting into those lengthened positions. Also, you're going to have just better mobility. Notice the difference there, the dorsiflexion, my hip mobility and everything, doing those long pauses. It's going to be a lot better. It's going to be better. And I have oftentimes made the argument, and in retrospect, I don't think that it's the best argument. The same argument that starting strength made, that the low bar squat's going to work more total muscles in the body. Well, what they mean is a little more hip extensors, all right? A little more hip extensors. So therefore, we're going to build more total muscle. But here's the problem with that. We're doing other movements for those things. In other words, if for some reason, let's say we get 3% more development of our hip extensors from doing low bar squatting, meaning glutes and stuff like that. But our quads are dramatically smaller, our mobility is worse. Are we better off? I'm going to say no, because we're going to come in and do other stuff for our hip extensors. I deadlift. I do deficit deadlifts. Like the same week I'm doing these, I'm doing really heavy deficit deadlifts. I'm doing pretty high rep. Heavy reverse hyperextensions. I did some good mornings in there. Okay, see where we're going with that? If our goal is to develop hip extension, strengthen the muscles of the hip extensors, isn't a deadlift or a hip hinge, any form of hip hinge is still going to be superior to a squat for that. And it's not like these things aren't growing. I mean, look at the studies we've seen on glute hypertrophy and just traditional squats. They're amazing glute builders. And anything else we're not getting from it, from deep squats, we're going to get from our hip extension movements. All of our hip hinging stuff, it's going to give us that. I'm sitting here saying that and worried about those things while my squat and mobility and stuff have gotten worse. But I'm deadlifting over 600 pounds. I can walk in and deadlift 600 pounds without a belt pretty much any time I want. I can do a couple warm-up reps and just walk over and pull it. Do I have a problem with those? No. What I can't do these days is squat 550, 600, things like that, right? So as I've looked at that, I've realized I would be better off just doing these. My quads are going to get a lot bigger again. Okay? It's going to help me be a better athlete, be in better shape, because that ability to get into those deep positions, it's just going to make me stronger. It's going to make me stronger. And I've realized more and more that as someone who's promoting strength and conditioning in fitness, I need to be having all these elements. I can't just be strong at a couple of movements. I need to be looking better. And how do we look better? We build more muscle. Okay? I need to look more jacked. Gonna have to get leaner. But I need to have conditioning. I need to have mobility. Okay? Now, what's going to give you a lot more mobility and what's going to give you bigger quads and stuff, what I'm doing here in this video, or me trying to hammer out wide stance low bar squats. And at the end of the day, this stuff is still going to give me a respectable squat. So, if I get back to where I can drop without a belt, I can do an ass to grass squat well up into the 500s again. Is anybody going to say that's not strong? Is that not going to be competitive in powerlifting if I choose to go back on a platform? But it's also going to carry over to some other lifts better. What if I want to mess with the classic lifts? As my mobility improves in the upper body, what if I want to do snatches, cleans, things like that? Well, what's going to make me better at doing those? Full squats. Because the fitness world has evolved. It's when you really look at the people out there who are impressive, they're well-rounded. Again, look at these CrossFit people. That's its own whole demographic. Some of these CrossFitters have enormous followings, and you look at all the other fitness niches. Okay? Look at the top 10 CrossFitters, men and women, and look at their followings on social media. Okay, that's its own world, and it's massive. And the rest of us need to get caught up with that. So what I've been telling people now, maybe our new standard here needs to be, can you do a full squat with 500 pounds and do 20 pull-ups from a dead hang? Before anyone says that's crazy, I'm like, is it? Because people are doing it. I got clients who've done that drug-free. That's what we need to be working on. We need to be well-rounded, and we need to be able to move. Not how much can I bench 4 inches. Not how much weight can I get an ultra-wide squat and barely break parallel with thick knee sleeves and knee wraps on or whatever, right? Let's get back to being strong, real strength, through full ranges of motion, where we're mobile and fit at the same time. There we go. How about we set standards like, let's all be able to full squat 500 pounds, be able to do 20 pull-ups, and then have a decent 5K time to go with it. I don't even know what that number is. I'm going to guess it's 25 minutes. Seems to be kind of what I've heard, is to not suck. Okay? Couldn't we consider the lifting equivalent, 500-pound squat? We have to do better. The whole fitness community, especially both the powerlifting and the bodybuilding sides, of oftentimes we've fallen behind. All of us in these little niches have fallen behind. Look at what these other people are doing, some of these serious athletes. So I'm going to work on actually squatting, not just what can I power squat. Do some real squats. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.